What is up, Packers fans? Welcome back to the Daily Draft. I'm your host, Ross Uglem, the publisher of Packer Report. And today we are brought to you, as always, by Brewski Light Lager, the best can in all of Wisconsin, from our friends at Badger States Brewing, just a minute's walk away from beautiful Lambeau Field. There's going to be so much cool stuff going on there. Draft week. Yes, I said draft week. More on that in a bit. I know you guys have been waiting. He's been the number one guy that has been requested. He has, frankly, been one of the top options that I have looked at in many, many mocks, and that is Oregon defensive lineman Derrick Harmon. Pros for Derrick Harmon: ideal size and thickness for a nose, especially a 4.3 nose, not 330, not 340. Maybe at one point in his college career, he was 330 or 340, not that way now. And so he can play kind of that odd front nose more than he could play a zero nose where you're absolutely required to double team him. He's 320, 330. He's not necessarily like BJ Raji. He found his pass rush, by the way, in 2024 after transferring in from Michigan State. Harmon ended up with 55 pressures, a phenomenal first step. Really, really good off the ball. And I think it's more reaction, reflexes, finely tuned athlete stuff than it is guessing the snap count. I think you do find guys that are good at guessing the snap count, especially it's more of an edge thing when you're playing inside defensive tackle. The snap's right in front of your face. So elite first quickness, good first step here from Derrick Harmon. Unreal speed, frankly, for a man of his size that shows up in the open field in pursuit. And I think that was basically proven in the combine. I think he ran really well. I don't think any of what I saw on film was disproven by how he did in Indianapolis. He really does an excellent job of anchoring against the run. He can drop his weight and not move even when double teamed. He can keep his linebackers clean, drop that weight into his butt, drop that weight into his knees, and kind of squat two offensive linemen right there on the line of scrimmage without giving up ground. That's a big thing for stopping the interior run game. Does a really, really good job. I mean, I think he's super athletic. That's what I think. I think he's super athletic. He does a good job in twists and in stunts. He can be the screen setter. He can be the loop guy. And for a human being as wide as he is, and you watch a film, that really does. I mean, you talk about what his weight is. I don't know. I know that he's a nose tackle. I know that he can play nose tackle. You see how wide he is. That 55 doesn't help him either for looking just like a refrigerator, but the way he moves around, super, super impressive for a human being of his size. He's disruptive and a good penetrator for someone with the mass of a nose tackle. A lot of nose tackles, even good nose tackles, are stop you in your tracks type guy, reset the line of scrimmage type guy. He has the ability to get up the field, which is why I think he is a pretty ideal one technique nose tackle for a Jeff Hafley system, because he actually does have the ability to get upfield in the way that a younger Kenny Clark did. Maybe Kenny can recapture some of that, but Harmon gives you a little bit more juice up the field, certainly, obviously, than a TJ Slayton did. And he played big time ball. Okay, he played Big Ten ball, used to be Pac-12, obviously, for Oregon, but played at Michigan State against Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, all those teams, and then played at Oregon, again, against all those teams. Played last four games, Wisconsin, Washington, Penn State, Ohio State. Last year, UCLA, Michigan State, Ohio State were all on the schedule, played against the Buckeyes twice. Major level of competition for Harmon, and that is, I guess, obviously something you would view as a good thing. There's very little projection because he was playing big time college football the whole time. You know what else is big time and live for the very first time on a prospect primer is the Green Bay Draft Guide powered by Packer Report. Use promo code DAILY for $1 off. The guide is live. If you go buy it right now, you're going to get it right now. It's no longer a pre-order. Go get that puppy. It's got great stuff. It's got my 7-round Packers mock. It's got Packer People from Jacob Morley, which is an awesome tiering guide. I wrote a little something about the Gutekunst way that I think Packers fans will enjoy, and kind of breaking down some of his biggest misses and whether or not his entire strategy makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. So go check that out. Get the Green Bay Draft Guide powered by Packer Report. Link should be below or in the description if you're on the podcast side and listening. Shout out to our audio listeners. Cons does not always finish the play. A little Devontae Wyatt-esque in that way. Will cause major disruption and cause a negative play for the offense, but is not always the one necessarily that makes the play. Disruption is always good. I think the elite ones finish the play. And if he finished more plays, he's probably a top 10 pick. So that's kind of where we are. He could be more technically proficient, I think, hand usage standpoint. Um, I think right now, to me, he has been getting by on being a freak athlete and having more wiggle than the guards and centers in front of him. Misses too many tackles that sort of rolls into not finishing the play. It's not always huge for a defensive tackle. Like if that's one of your red flags, I'm going to be pretty okay with it. Yeah, missing tackles sucks, but you're missing tackles as a defensive tackle. There's a linebacker behind you to make the play. There's a safety behind him to make the play. And generally, too, there's a lot of plays where the design of the defense is not for you to make the play. You maintain gap integrity, you reestablish the line of scrimmage, and a linebacker fits in behind you to make the play because you kept him clean. And so that's why I'm not super obsessed with Harmon's sometimes inability to make tackles and his missed tackle rate being higher than I would like. It's just not that big of a deal for a defensive tackle. Much bigger for a safety, much bigger for a linebacker as far as like how much it actually matters. I thought too, one thing I will say, he was a significantly better football player with Oregon. Now that could be Dan Lanning and that defensive staff just being better than his defensive coaches at Michigan State. I don't know. But ultimately, I thought he was a significantly better player. So if you're going to have the conversation about flash in the pan, if you're going to have the conversation about 1 year wonder, I think that's a legitimate one. Okay, guys, head over to Badger State Brewing. Got a can of brewski right here for everything they've got going on during draft week. And yes, I said draft week. The festivities start on April 22nd. Food trucks are going to be there. Great beers from all over Wisconsin, including obviously theirs. There's going to be an old-fashioned station, other statewide vendors. It's going to be kind of a Wisconsin experience over at Badger State. It's going to be super, super fun. Tag me, tag us in everything that you do over there. We know that the Badger State folks appreciate each and every one of you. Packers fit. It is perfect. He is a good player. He is what they need. They need a TJ Slayton replacement. And yes, replacing a 5th round, 1 contract nose tackle with a 1st round pick might seem kind of crazy, but you're also potentially replacing Kenny Clark. So it's important to keep in mind that right now the Clark contract doesn't look very good. If he struggles for another season, it's going to look even worse. He's just a perfect fit. They've taken West Coast guys before, and frankly, they've taken Michigan State guys before. Not super thrilling on the Michigan State defensive tackle side. Shout out to Jarrell Worthy. But he is probably on their radar. I think, frankly, from a fit perspective, he is as likely a 1st round pick for the Packers at 23 as any. If I were setting odds on the Packers pick, he might be my favorite. No, I don't think he's would be minus money or anything like that. I think there's too many options to have any type of an even money favorite. But I think the lowest odds for me would be on Derrick Harmon. I think there's a decent chance he slides that far. I think there's a decent chance he's on their radar. I know he fits what they like to do, and he fits a need. They've said it before, best player available at a position or need. Derrick Harmon. Overall, he's got a true 1st round grade. I didn't give out that many of those this year. He is my 13th overall player. I think it would be hard to get more excited about a 1st rounder. I think he is a Pro Bowl level defensive tackle. I don't know how much you're going to get from him in the pass rush game. That's the worry. That's why he doesn't have a top 5 grade for me, right? Because I think you have to be a 6, 7, 8, 9 sack interior defensive lineman if you're going to be a top 5 pick. I think you got to have, where you could be. Not Aaron Donald's not right because Aaron Donald is a unicorn, but I think you got to have some of that real ass whoop to you to be, one of those defensive tackles that people fear on 3rd down. And those are rare, man. And that's what makes like a top 5 grade. This isn't a top 5 grade. This is just a 1st round grade. I think he's a plus starter immediately. That's where I've got Derrick Harmon. Here we go. Drink. Oh no, I screwed it up. Drink Badger State. Buy the draft guide because it's available. And go Pack, go.